Hello and welcome to 5 Minutes to Code with your host Matthew C. Applegate. Today we're going to be looking at some examples in processing. I love using processing to help new programmers to learn how to code. It's simple and it gives the coder almost immediate feedback, which allows them to better understand what the code is doing. If you don't already have processing, I recommend you pause the video and download it from the link below. Once you have processing set up, you're ready to begin. Processing is set up into two main areas, the setup area and the draw area. As the program is run, it jumps to the setup area and carries out those instructions first. It only does this once at the beginning of the program. After it has completed the instructions in the setup area, it moves on to the draw area. The draw area loops from top to bottom until the program is terminated. Let's check out the setup code for this example in more detail. At the very top of the code, before we even get to the setup, we declare int old x and old y. This says to the program to create some space in memory for two integers, one called old y and one called old x. These variables will be used to store the old mouse positions from the previous loop. We use int, which is short for integers, because we don't need a decimal point for this. We declare these variables all the way up here to make them global variables. This means both the setup area and the draw area can read and write to them. Now on to the setup. The first command we issue is size 650 by 500. This is the screen resolution for our application. Next we tell it to color the entire background black by using background 000 command. The three zeros are the R, G and B values respectively. On the next line we have not one but two commands separated by a semicolon. Old x equals width divided by 2 and old y equals height divided by 2. A semicolon in processing is like a full stop. It lets the program know we are on to a new command. The next section we will be looking at is the draw section. This is where the code loops and loops from top to bottom repeatedly until the program is terminated. The first command we issue is a float declaration. Float r equals random 255. This will create a random number with a decimal point and assign it to the variable r. The two commands below for G and B do exactly the same thing. What this code is doing is assigning a random color to the brush every time around the loop. The next command we issue is to declare another float. Float w equals random 8. This will be used to generate a random width for the brush between 0 and 8. Next we have the stroke RGB. Now stroke is used to draw lines and outlines of shapes, and as we are drawing lines in this program, we are going to make the stroke the value of the RGB variables we just created. That way, every time around the loop, the color of the brush will change. The next command, stroke weight, is a command which sets the size of the brush, so we are going to set it to W, the random size we created above. Now for a conditional statement, or a question if you like, and if the answer to the question is true, the program will perform the actions that are with it. The question is, if the mouse is pressed, draw a line, starting at old x and old y, and ending at mouse x and mouse y. Then update the values of old x and old y with the current value of mouse x and mouse y. By doing this, it will draw a connected line of changing colors. Now I have been sneaky here. I have left something out that might be helpful to clear the screen, but in order to figure that out, you might have to watch the previous video. Be sure to take screenshots of your art and maybe try to recreate some of your work in the real world. I really hope you have enjoyed what you have seen, and if you have, please remember to click the like and subscribe buttons below. Thanks for watching.